To whoever finds this letter, I don't sleep much anymore. I know it's not good for me, the uppers and the caffeine drinks, but it beats the alternative. When you don't sleep for a little while, you get tired. When you don't sleep for a long time, you get exhausted. But when you don't sleep for weeks, you get a little crazy. I haven't slept for a month, so I'll leave you to judge what my mental state is. I know I don't have much time left before my body betrays me, when, despite the pep pills and endless espressos, I'll nod off for more than a moment. Before that happens, I'll end this nightmare, but first I have to put this down. Someone needs to know the truth. It all started one night when my little girl's voice dragged me out from a deep sleep. Bleary-eyed, I can remember staring at the clock radio, the strange glyphs unreadable to my tired brain at first. Then slowly I recognized the patterns as numbers. 4:03 a.m. With an exhausted sigh, I looked down at my daughter. "Honey? Are you awake?" "Monsters under my bed," she told me as I snapped on a lamp. As the bedroom filled with light, I saw how tired she looked, the skin under her big blue eyes bruised and puffy. "Monsters, huh?" "Green ones," she replied with a matter-of-factly attitude only a 4-year-old can have while reporting mythical beings. She snuggled in under the covers. "I told them to go away, but they didn't." As she settled in, I turned off the light and hugged her. "Tomorrow we'll get some monster repellent. That'll make them go away." She yawned and told me, "They said grown-ups always promise to make them go away, but grown-ups are wrong." The next day I got a spray bottle, decorated it with paint and sparkles, and stuck a label that read monster repellent on the side. I filled it with lemon water and presented it to my daughter with great solemnity, explaining that with this powerful weapon no monster would dare disturb her rest. God, if only I'd known. Please forgive me, sweetheart. I didn't know better, but I'm getting ahead of myself again, aren't I? You don't know what I know. Not yet. That night, my sweet Amy went off to bed, her bottle of monster repellent in hand. I did the traditional parental patrol, checking under the bed, in the closet, before I turned off the lights and tucked her in. It was 2:30 a.m. when she appeared at my bed again. "Daddy, it didn't work," she informed me, and laid the now empty squirt bottle on the pillow beside my head. I turned on the light and stifled a need to curse as I saw the time. "Okay, honey, you can sleep with me, but tomorrow night you have to stay in your own bed." She crawled into bed with me, and with that uncanny ability all kids seem to have, she was asleep within seconds. Me, on the other hand, I took a long time to get back to sleep, just as I drifted off. I thought I heard a sound, like sleet hitting warm glass. Now she's got you imagining things too, I thought to myself. Then I was asleep. The next day, Amy and I had a long talk about monsters and how they weren't real. She listened and nodded and promised me that no matter what, she wouldn't be afraid. I promised her that if she stayed in bed on her own, the next day we'd go for ice cream. Strawberry Bliss with sprinkles, her favorite. When I tucked her in that night, I checked the closets and under the bed, showed her that there was nothing to be afraid of, and tucked her in tight. God forgive me. I left her there, snuggled into her comforter. I could see her smiling at me as I turned out the lights, her tiny hands making the thumbs-up gesture. That night, my dreams were strange, filled with dark noises and uneasy images, and when I awoke it was morning, and I was so proud of my Amy for sleeping on her own. And I went into her room, and her bed was empty. The rest of that day is a nightmarish blur. Police, tears, explanations, and accusations. Looks from strangers who asked me the same things over and over. My baby was gone. No one knew how or why. It was days before I was allowed to go back to the house to see her room, to touch her things. I missed her so much. I slept in her bed that first night. A grown man curled into a child's bed, clinging to Amy's stuffed rabbit and praying that she was found. Just as I was slipping into unconsciousness, that's when I heard the noise again, the same strange slither coming from under the bed. Still and quiet, I lay in my daughter's bed and listened. The slither came again, louder. Amy? I called my daughter's name. The why I did, I still don't know. I couldn't have known what I know now. Daddy. My child's voice was a sibilant whisper in the dark. I leapt from the bed and looked for my baby girl with my arms outstretched to hug her, but something else was holding my little girl. She hung in its grasp like a broken doll, her eyes blank as she stared at me. Claws curled round her tiny frame and gray eyes. And gray-green scales covered a creature of impossible horror. I screamed, and I fled, and my daughter's voice wailed from the darkness. You said there was no such thing as monsters, Daddy. But you lied. That was a month ago, or thereabouts. I've lost track of time, I suppose. I can't sleep, you see, because they're hunting me now. Every time I close my eyes in that moment, right before I slip into the blissful peace of sleep, I hear that sound. I know if I sleep, they'll find me. May God forgive me, but I'm a coward. I can't face my Amy's screams again.